It's inevitable that there's going to be conflict.
Somewhere down the line.
So
It's personal accountability. Do what you say you're going to do. Grow up.
I could have done this before you lost all our money. Again, it was an uncharacteristic comment. You know the best time to calmly, rationally talk about how to handle conflict? When you're not in conflict.
Exactly.
So see how y'all laughing and kiki-kiking right now? Now's the time to talk about fighting fair, rules, tools, and red flags. Welcome to Marriage with Jim and Teresa. I'm your host, Jim. I'm joined in studio by my co-host, my wife of the last 40 years, the mother of our 4 children, Teresa, the therapist.
Hi, Jim.
What's up?
Not much. I guess it's all about fighting, huh? Fighting fair?
Hey, Teresa, you know what we want to do today?
No, tell me.
We want to teach couples how to disagree without destroying trust. Or like I like to say, how to disagree without becoming disagreeable.
Yes, I thought you'd bring that one.
We want to highlight some practical conflict resolution skills and how to avoid dangerous problem patterns during arguments.
Absolutely.
And this is one of my favorite chapters in our book that we talk about. In our book, we call this chapter Caring Enough, and I want you to think about the title, Caring Enough to Embrace Conflict. Caring Enough to Embrace Conflict. And here's why that's so important, Teresa. You see in the counseling center all the time couples who think since they care so much, they are avoiding conflict.
Right.
Instead of caring enough to embrace conflict.
Yes.
And that's what we want to talk about. Conflict is inevitable, but being combative, that's an option.
Right. We don't want to be combative.
So, wow, we could spend a long time on this episode and do many, many shows about it because I see it's so problematic. It's so problematic. Mm-hmm. Here's some things that we know. Every couple argues, although I have had couples say we don't argue.
I know it, and that's not a positive.
It's not a positive. Now, usually what that means is because when conflict arises, somebody leaves the room.
Or disagree. They shut down.
They shut down. Mm-hmm. They shut down. Mm-hmm. And so they think they're doing a good thing. We don't argue, but that's horrible. So every couple argues. Disagreements are a normal part of 2 lives merging with different perspectives. Mm-hmm. You know, one of the things I like to say, and you got to understand my comment I'm about to make. The fact that this works is a miracle. What do you mean, Jim? This what? The fact that marriage works is a miracle of God. You know why, Teresa?
No, tell me.
Because you put 2 sinful, selfish people together in close proximity, and they live with each other.
And I wish couples would actually really take that in. Both of you, not just one of you, are sinful. Selfish people. Hey,
it's who we are. But now when you put us both together in close proximity, I mean, like in our case, we live at home, we work at home, mm-hmm. we travel together. Every time I turn around, there you are.
I know it.
It's inevitable that there's going to be conflict.
Somewhere down the line.
So what we had to figure out, remember we promised you in this episode, what we do in our shows is we talk to our younger selves. We talk to who we used to be before we knew what we know now after 40 years of marriage and a master's degree in marriage and family therapy, mm-hmm. And hours and hours and hours of counseling couples. So here's what we wish we had known, because when people don't understand that conflict is inevitable, then when conflict happens, they go like, oh my gosh.
They fall apart. Yeah.
We must be in trouble because we didn't know we were going to have arguments. Okay.
As a matter of fact, I tell couples when they do come to me, sometimes I'll say, I'm glad you're here. And I'll say that because I'm thinking now we have an opportunity to grow and to be even better. You know, it's not a negative that you're here. I'm so glad you're here because you're coming to help each other or help yourself.
Okay. So Teresa, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
I try to think about what I'm going to wear depending on what we're talking about.
Okay.
So you see I got my Superman shirt on.
I see that.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think you need superhero-like tendencies to not shrink is the word I'm looking for, in the face of conflict? Do you think that requires anything special So
I do.
Okay.
I do. I think, and I guess you could call it your superpower or whatever. You do need to gird up yourself or get ready for a fight
Like what you said.
because
Well, now wait. Now some people see fight as a negative. So when you say get ready for a fight, do you, as a therapist, I'm surprised you're using that word actually.
but it's not negative.
So well, when I think about fighting, I think about
I know you hurting each other. Or
yeah.
something.
So what do you mean when you say fighting?
Well, conflict,
Okay.
an issue,
Okay.
dealing with an issue.
All right. So we want couples to know that conflict is not out of the ordinary. It's actually inevitable. And we want you to care enough to embrace conflict.
Right.
So
you can have an unhealthy kind of conflict.
okay.
Fight,
What does that
whatever.
look like? What does unhealthy conflict look like?
So you start to blame, you're defensive, you have sarcasm, you're stonewalling, you're bringing up old stuff, instead of they're making it worse. You're escalating it. It's like you're picking.
Okay, that makes sense. So it sounds like
That's
unhealthy
unhealthy.
conflict would wound instead of heal.
Exactly.
So this is when it gets really bad. So hey Jim, the reason I avoid conflict is because in the aftermath of our conflict, things are so bad, which means to me, right? You agree? You're not doing it right.
Exactly. You're not doing it right.
So Teresa, why do people tend to default to unhealthy conflict? What it is about us? Why you and I are in a conflict? Why do I want to point the finger and hurt you and wound you? Why? You're a therapist. Tell me. Tell me.
Well, I think what happens is that you go into your personal self. You begin to attack the person versus the situation. So it's almost like now I'm having to defend myself versus dealing with whatever problem we were dealing with.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay, that does make sense.
Okay.
Okay, so that's unhealthy conflict.
Yes.
So healthy conflict would involve listening to understand, staying curious instead of critical, owning your part, and speaking from emotion rather than accusation. Now, it sounds like when you say speaking from emotion, that's a bad thing.
Well, no, regulated emotions are wonderful. We want our emotions to be regulated. We all have them.
Okay. So that's the difference.
That's the key.
So it's kind of like strength under control.
Yeah.
It's like regulated emotions. It's not emotional like outburst and
Right.
lashing out.
Right. Sometimes I guess men, I'm going to say men because you guys say you guys aren't so emotional, but that's not true.
I've never said that.
Well, some men say that.
I think, do you agree with this? Men, generally speaking, aren't as emotional as women.
Okay, that's
Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that.
Okay, but it's not fair to say, or it's not accurate to say that men
not
aren't
accurate.
emotional.
No.
Men aren't emotional.
Because
Okay.
you are.
Okay,
Absolutely,
gotcha,
you are.
gotcha.
Emotions are wonderful if they're regulated. I'll say this, and that goes for men or women.
The problem I think a lot of men make, or the mistake a lot of men make, and the problem that it causes is a lot of men have been taught, don't show your emotions. Don't be emotional. So you sit there stone-faced and stoic, but boiling underneath is something that at some point is going to erupt. So men in particular, and maybe this, you can speak to the women, but men in particular, in your efforts to avoid conflict because you're of the opinion that it's bad, you suppress, and then what could have been little mini skirmishes all along the course of your marriage erupts into like World War III because you didn't address this on a regular basis.
Right, and women, I would say, give your husband space to ponder whatever is needed, but he needs to express his emotions. But give him some space and give him some time to do that.
Okay, so did we talk about healthy conflict and that involved? Did we talk about listening to understand yet?
You did. We talked a little bit about it. But
So-
that's what we want to do.
Yeah, so
healthy.
Healthy conflict is listening to understand, and we talk about this in our book on the whole conflict chapter, or maybe it's the communication chapter, when we talk about listen, understand, love, LUV, listen, understand, validate. So when you're in a conflict, you want to listen, not waiting for your chance to speak
Right.
instead of listening. You've already got your response like loaded in. So when they finish talking, really no matter what they said,
You haven't really heard.
you haven't really heard, but you're just waiting to fire back your response, right? So we talk about listening, and then I love the U part of LUV, love, is understanding. Hey, Teresa, now you say, I don't ever put my clothes up. Now, hopefully you wouldn't say never. That's
Or
one of the
ever.
rules for not having, for not.
That's
in
not
conflict.
positive.
Yeah, that's not positive. But let's say you violated the rule.
Okay.
So I'm listening to you. Hey, Teresa, you say that I don't ever clean up behind myself. Now, when you say that, tell me what you're saying, because here's what I see me doing, but apparently it's different than what you see. You see how I'm trying to understand.
Right.
Okay, then after I repeat that back, she would either validate, listen, understand, validate. Yeah, Jim, that is what I'm saying. Here's some examples.
Exactly. And that would help you understand exactly what I'm talking about. When I say you don't put your clothes up, I mean, you don't hang them up or you just put them in the chair or
By
whatever.
the way, we're using other examples. This is not about me. We're talking about a friend that we know. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
We're talking about friends that we know.
Okay.
So say, listen, understand, validate. Okay. When couples fight fair, I love this. Conflict becomes we ought to zoom in the camera. When couples fight fair, conflict becomes a tool, not a threat. That's important stuff.
Yeah, it could build
That's
a lot.
important.
It can definitely build a lot when it becomes a tool.
It reveals what matters. It brings hidden emotions to the surface. It opens doors to better communications, empathy, and even intimacy.
That's right. If you want us to open up and be that woman who desire you, you need to
initiate conflict and create things to argue about? Is that what you're saying?
No, you need to
that's not what you're
use that too.
Okay, all right. So instead of asking couples, why do we fight so much? Well, hopefully you're not fighting a lot, but a better question to ask might be, how can we learn to fight in a way that helps us?
Right, because you've already said fighting and conflict is inevitable, but it's how we fight that's important, because that using that tool properly is only going to bring about the positive.
You know what I'm trying not to do, Teresa? I'm trying not to overemphasize the subject that is so important to me, and this is such a big deal to me that I don't want to go off on a tangent here.
Okay, I'll help you.
Will you help me stay on target? Because I see the negative effects of this in so many cases.
Okay.
I've seen like literally marriages destroyed because a person didn't engage in conflict. And when I would ask, why don't you have this conversation? You know what the answer was?
What?
I've had at least 3 or 4 discussions with one-on-ones with men when I've said, why have you not engaged more in conflict? And the answer has been literally, Jim, I'm trying to save my marriage.
So by not engaging, he's trying to save his marriage.
Because he has a really negative view of conflict, not what we're trying to teach, a really negative view of conflict. So what's interesting, in his effort to not argue so I can save my marriage, it ends up blowing up. It always does. And in some of these instances of the 3 or 4 I'm thinking about, the marriage was not saved.
And I mean, the woman is dying over there, not with him not speaking up and interacting, because that's what she needs, is to process through whatever the issue is.
Okay, now here's the tricky thing, and I don't know if we're going to talk about this later or not. You tell me if you want to save it. So, we always talk about baggage, and we always talk about you see and hear life through the eyes and ears of your past experiences. We all come into relationships with baggage. This is why it's so hard to make this work. We bring stuff with us that the other person doesn't know about. So what? Why are you smiling?
Oh, because I was just thinking how God works that.
Tell me how God works.
Well, just how God works through. You go to the wedding and it's beautiful and it's all this, and then here comes the conflict, and God is saying, "Okay, let's work through this. Let me show you how to do this. And if we are in tune, we can do this." But I was just thinking about how God works all of the things you just mentioned about it, the negative part of it. But he can work that out. That's why it's so important to have him in the relationship.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, exactly. So what was I saying?
I forgot.
Okay, so anyway, getting back to the theme, let's talk about some rules for healthy conflict. Well, I was going to say something, though, I thought was really important to the men. Maybe it'll come back to me. Let's talk about some rules for healthy conflict. So we've said conflict is inevitable.
Yes.
We've said it can be healthy. We said it can be a tool. It doesn't have to tear you down. It can build you up. So what are some rules for healthy conflict, Teresa?
Well, one of the things that I hear sometimes is we don't want to name call or
That doesn't make any sense.
I know it.
Do you have to explain that to people?
I know it, but sometimes I hear of couples, they just cut each other down, and I'm thinking, you sleep with this person. Why are you calling him this or her? Why are you saying those words towards someone you say you love? But name calling can be, so we don't want any name calling.
Now stop right there. So I know you see this in the counseling center or you wouldn't have brought it up. It's just hard for me to get my head around that. Why does that happen?
Well, usually it's because it's a person feeling attacked. They just say a lot of things. That's
Wow.
about it. They just say
Wow.
whatever to get you off my back. I'm going to say it, but that means there's another problem. If you can get to this place with name calling, there's another problem under there that needs to be addressed.
Hey, I know one of the things you do, you've told me to do in the counseling room, is you like to watch couples interact,
I
not
do.
necessarily in conflict, but just interact in general to see how. Tell that story. Do you don't encourage them? You put topics on the table.
Well,
tell me what you do.
Well, sometimes if I ask a question and a person he or she is responding, and then the other person interrupts and starts, well, I'm going to allow that to continue unless it gets bad or something. But I'm going to allow that to continue because it gives me an idea of what he or she is going through when they are communicating. When they're trying to communicate. So if I'm trying to communicate and you keep cutting me off, I never get my thought out. I haven't expressed myself really. It's just, it's just a back and forth, no understanding. That is very, is not only rude, but it's, you're not getting any, there's no progress there.
So part of what you do in the counseling room is you observe perhaps conflict to see how they fight, so you can counsel and correct on how you should argue.
Right. And like I say, one time I did let it go too far, and I had to stand up, and I asked him to leave.
Really?
I sure did. I said, you need to step out and cool off a little bit. But I wanted to see what she was experiencing because she had tried to tell me and he was trying to explain and he got really upset. So I had to stand, as usually what I do is I stand up and get attention. And then I said, would you just leave the room and cool down a minute and we'll reconvene in just a moment.
Okay. So let me ask you this. A couple that's that animated with you there, what's happening at home when they're just by themselves?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot. That's why I wanted to see that. I wanted to hear what was going on, but she had already told me. Yeah, she had already told me because usually I meet with a couple individually first. So I listen to what he thinks the problem is, and I listen to what she thinks the problem is. And when I bring them together, then I'm looking for those things. Is that is that what she said? Is that what he said? I'm looking for those things so that we can address them. And I never go back and say he said, she said. I don't do that.
So you don't tell the person what the other person said and the individual said. Okay,
no, I bring it around and maybe a question or something like that, and then allow them to elaborate on it. But this particular person was dealing with some other issues. It was just a very, whatever, but it went too far. And I apologized to her. I apologized to him, and they both apologized to each other. So by the time we left, and I always try to de-escalate before they leave my office. And so we got to a good place. We made some commitments of not saying certain things, and then we were able to move on.
So that's part of our first point is no name calling.
Yeah,
so
no
you made
name
a commitment
calling.
not to say. Okay, so no name calling. Okay, you say no bringing up the past.
Right. If the past is not in this whole thing, why are we bringing it in? What are you trying to accomplish there? Because usually if you're bringing in the past, you're trying to say this is what you did before, which is a negative, ugly, not being nice, not being kind. So that doesn't need to come in. And it's okay to take a time out if you need it. Take a time out. Say, give me a minute. I need to go, but you got to make sure you come back and talk about the
Mm-hmm.
situation. But sometimes timeout is important.
So when I hear you say timeout's important, I think about, we write about this in the book, that you want to make sure when you're prepared to engage in conflict, I know sometimes it's spontaneous, but you want to try to be intentional in terms of having the right tone, making sure it's the right time,
Right.
it's the right turf.
Right.
So what do we mean? I've said this to you before, and here's what's amazing about our relationship journey, and we do these shows to speak to our younger selves. Here's some things just Almighty God just gave me. I didn't have the teaching, the training, but a lot of this is just out of our own life. So when we say right tone, 40 years ago, we're just married. You remember what I used to say to you?
Mm-hmm.
We'd be talking. I say to Teresa, ho, ho, ho. Take some of the bass out your voice. That's the first thing you need to do. Take some of the bass out your voice.
You did say that.
So
Yeah.
I didn't have any training. It's like just God gave that to me because it's like, and I would say to you, I guess I was just transparent enough, and just by the grace of God, hey, Teresa, help me help you. What do you mean,
You've
Jim?
said
I
that.
said that a
Yeah,
lot.
you've said that.
I said, because now here's what I know about me. When you raise your voice, I'm not going to listen. Doesn't matter if you're making sense. Doesn't matter if you speaking with the voice of God. The fact that you hollering or yelling, which you don't do that.
No.
But if the voice is, but I'm hypersensitive to elevated voices.
Well, I used to scream at the kids because I was downstairs, they were upstairs. I'm trying to get their attention. It wasn't the texting and stuff at the time.
Yeah.
That came a little bit later, but you didn't like that either.
So we would talk about the right tone. That's my example of just God gave that to me. The right time. Okay, now here are 4 words that frighten most men to death.
I know.
Here are 4 words that frighten most men to death. Men, you know what I'm talking about?
We need to talk.
We need to talk. Okay, that should not be frightening at all. Man, let's talk about this.
Exactly.
Why
Walk into it.
Why is that frightening?
I don't know. I've told a guy, I said, you're a grown man. You need to walk right on into it. What is it, baby, that we need to talk about?
So another thing, can't take credit for it. Nobody trained me on this. It was just the grace of God. So when Teresa would say we need to talk, I would do one of a couple things. Depending on what I was doing, let's say I'm watching something on TV. We need to talk. I turn everything off that I'm doing, completely devote my attention to her. What do we need to talk about? Let's go. Let's talk about it. Or let's say if I can't do that right then you make a promise. Hey, Teresa, now is not a good time. Give me 30 minutes. Give me an hour, but you got to keep your promise.
Exactly.
Give me this time and we will talk about this. As a matter of fact, you used to get upset with me, remember, because I used to say to you, okay, I agree we need to talk. And I'm gonna exaggerate. I don't think I actually said this, but I was like, "What about Thursday at 3?"
You said something about get on your schedule.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
And that just went out the window.
I'm not sure if I said get on my schedule.
I'm not getting on your schedule.
I think maybe what you heard. I think what I said was a good time for us to talk would be.
We were at the office, so I know it was.
Were we at the office? Well, then I might have.
You did say that.
Okay, so guys, you got to understand. We used to work together. People used to say, how do y'all spend we still work together. But starting out, we moved and opened up a new business from Tennessee to Mississippi. And we launched that business together. So we slept together. We drove to work together. We worked all day together. We picked the kids up together. We came back to the office. And people say, how do y'all do this? So if that was at the office and you said we need to talk, maybe I did say, you got the calendar.
Oh yeah, you
put it on the calendar.
Yeah, you did.
That which makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
No.
Okay. Anyway.
Well, it said maybe it's the way you said it. But anyway, name calling is disrespectful. Let me go back to that.
Okay. Well, yeah, we didn't finish that.
I thought we needed to add a little bit more on that.
Okay, so name calling is disrespectful. Okay, keep going.
It's damaging.
Okay.
It's damaging to a person's who they are in this relationship. And that's not what you want. Remember, you're a team. You're not each other's enemy. You're in this thing together. You've got to want marriage. You've got to want to work with another person. This is not just about you. And so it's disrespectful to name call. And not even in just a relationship, just as a human being. It's just disrespectful and it's not kind.
Hey, so I'm just thinking now, we haven't walked through this, but I'm thinking, Teresa, if you name called, if you said to me, even in the heat of battle, this is just me, right? This is an admission, right? I promise to be transparent on here, right? If you said to me, you lazy, sorry, fill in the blank with the word, I'm not sure I would have ever moved past that.
I mean, that's a hard place to move past. Why would you call me those names?
Now maybe I should be. You might say, Jim, you should be able to move past it.
No, I mean that's hard. I mean, and I've heard people curse each other. Say curse words, say words that are horrible to each other, and I'm thinking, are you in this thing or not? So I'm saying those are big red flags right there, and we'll get to that later. But
okay. So we're talking about don't name call, don't bring up the past, right? Did we leave anything out?
well, that was another one. One more. Take a time out.
Oh, stay on topic.
Yeah.
Okay, this is important.
Okay, go back to
This is
that.
important. Stay on topic. So let's argue about one thing at a time. Right now, what brought up the argument was this. Okay, so this is usually wives. I hate to be stereotypical, right? This is usually wives. So you say we need to talk. Okay, great. I'm great.
Did you say it was mostly wives?
I said what I'm about to say is usually wives.
Okay.
Unless you disagree.
Oh,
Here's what I mean.
I'm gonna see.
What do we want to talk about? This. So while we're talking about this, you bring up this. See his other hand? His other hand, other stuff. you bring up this. Now, do you say that men do that as well? As often?
Not as often. I won't say as often.
So what we're saying is stay on topic. Stay on topic. Now, I'm not saying we're not going to talk about this stuff, but let's talk about this stuff when we finish this stuff. So give me one thing at a time. You realize that most men
Tunnel vision.
Tunnel vision. Women, if you don't know this, most of your husbands, I'm kind of a do one thing at a time kind of guy.
And you need to ponder sometimes.
And I need to ponder sometimes.
And I am all over the place.
Yeah,
I can be thinking about the kids and thinking about work, thinking about family, other family, extended family and church and everything. I can be all over the place. Exactly.
Which I find frustrating. You know what that causes?
No.
Conflict. It causes conflict.
Okay.
So anyway, stay on topic. Don't bring in unrelated issues. It clouds the conversation, it increases the chance of misunderstanding, and then it often leads to just to back and forth. But because here's the whole thing about conflict. We're trying to come to resolution. We ain't just having conflict because it's our favorite recreational activity.
Yeah.
Something I talk to men about all the time?
What?
Man, this is maybe one of the most talked about subjects that I talk to when I'm mentoring individual men. This issue came up. Why didn't you address it? Hey, Jim, I just didn't want to take the time. I didn't see the importance. And then I'll say this. Hey, by you not addressing it over here, marriage year one, dating month one, that now, if you plan to be married for the next 40 years, you got to address this that you refuse to address here and here. This is a timeline. Here, all through the timeline. And so I don't understand why men don't get that. Here's the guy asked me this. Jim, you seem to really embrace conflict. Well, I do. He said, you seem to enjoy it. I don't enjoy conflict. But here's what I enjoy. I enjoy resolution.
Or at least management.
So I enjoy the fact, and reason why I'm so invested in a single incident is because I enjoy the fact that we don't have to ever talk about this again, or we certainly minimize the amount of times we talk about.
I agree, 100%.
Does that make sense?
It does, and that's why I ask the men to step into it. Afraid or not afraid, you're a grown man.
Is it fair to say?
Grown woman, step into it.
Is it fair to say that you see men more often than not the problem when it comes to trying to avoid conflict? Is that fair to say or not?
That is fair to say because a lot of the time a woman will step on the ego. And if we step on your ego, you're going to shut down.
What does that look like? Maybe you stepping on my ego. I don't even know it. Tell me.
No, it's just that if you walk into that disrespect, if you disrespect me, because a man demands just respect, and if you walk into the disrespectful area, you just shut him down. And so he doesn't have, it's like he needs more energy to come back. But I encourage him to come back, even after disrespect. One thing you can say is, I don't appreciate the way you spoke to me. I thought that was disrespectful. That's one thing you can do to get on an even plane. And then she needs to acknowledge, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. However, let's talk about this.
Okay. So what you're saying is you do see men more often than not passive.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons why is because you've said something that was disrespectful or hurt my feelings. And then I know with me, I think this is true for me, that tends to make me shut down. And so the conflict that we were going to engage in, the conversation that we were going to have, we just don't have it because you've hurt. This sounds kind of petty, right?
Well,
because you've hurt my feelings.
I like to use the word the ego. You've stepped on. It's even more than feelings. It's something we have stepped on that is. It's very hard for you to come around.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It is.
All right. So when we say stay on topic, we talked about we don't want to confuse what the real issue is. We don't want to make resolution impossible because you give me so many things to think about that now we can't solve it. I don't want to feel overwhelmed and unfocused.
Right.
Okay. So what are some things that we're talking about? How do you embrace conflict, or how do you learn the right skills? So we talked about what you don't want to do, Teresa. What should you do?
Well, like I say, just have the one issue at a time.
Okay.
So let's focus on the communication issue right now. We can talk about whatever else, scheduling or whatever else we need to talk about later. So you just make that just that simple statement.
Okay.
You want to create a sense of safety and direction in the conversation.
All right. We mentioned in our topic, we're going to talk about red flags. So what are some red flags that you see? Or maybe I'm sure you've seen everything, but that you see or that you know that people do, some red flags that we want people to watch for.
Well, and red flags definitely are relationship killers. And one that's really big is stonewalling. And I just wanted you I wanted us to look at that.
Okay, let's look at it.
So stonewalling is when a partner shuts down, withdraws, and become emotionally unavailable, and during this conflictual time. So that's almost that's a disrespect right there. But it's like looking at you're just like giving me the silent treatment. And I've had couples to say, well, he can give me or she can give me the silent treatment for 2 days. And I'm thinking, you living in the same house? So I'm just saying stonewalling is one of those things that can cause.
Hey, do you remember the first time
those red flags?
You remember the first time this came up in our relationship?
I don't remember. When did did you stonewall me?
No, I'm not a stonewaller.
I'm not a stonewaller. I stonewall you?
So this is about being transparent and just honest with each other. So here's something I told Teresa, like we're married. We don't know what we're doing. We've already shared that, right? But again, God's grace. So you got to know yourself, right? So one of our early arguments, this is all I remember about it. You shut down and you weren't talking. And I remember, here's what I said to you. Hey, Teresa, here's something you need to know about me. Not proud of it.
Yeah, I remember now that you say it.
Here's something you need to know about me. If you're going to go without talking, I'll go the next 69 days without talking. If you want to go down this road, if you want to compete in this area.
So you threaten me.
No, if this the game you want to play, I ain't going to lose.
I know you're not.
that was basically what I was saying. So what I said to you was, help me help us.
That's kind of what you were saying.
Yeah. Help me help us because, guys, I'm not proud of it. Don't be so critical. Don't be so judgmental. This was 40 years ago. But what I said was, Teresa's trying not to talk. So it's been a day. Okay, I'm going to double down on the day. And then this is knowing yourself, right? So now, hey, one of my best friends in the world, Ronnie Parker. You know Ronnie.
I know, Ronnie.
Ronnie was a roommate in college. Ronnie and I had an argument one time. We lived in the dorm room together.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I talked to Ronnie for a week and a half.
That's horrible. Ronnie is such a sweet person.
Ronnie is a sweet person. But, well, my best friend. But hey, we had an argument about, I don't know what it was about, but I remember for like a week and a half, I'd open my mouth. And we slept right next to each other in the dorm room. So I'm not proud of this, Teresa. But all I was telling you is it would help me be able to help us if you don't do that. Mm-hmm. And so, Jim, why don't you work on yourself? It's all about accountability. I get what you're saying now. It's 40 years ago.
Yeah. Another version of stonewalling is just walking away mid-conversation.
I'm playing through
mid-conversation.
I don't remember experiencing these things, so I'm playing this in my head. Hey, that would not be good.
No, that wouldn't.
It's disrespectful.
It is. Absolutely. And another version, let's look at this one.
Okay.
Is no eye contact. One of the ways I do a connection little
exercise
mm-hmm. is that I have a couple hold hands.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is in the counseling room.
In the counseling room. I have them look at each other in each other's eyes. It is sometimes so very hard for them to look in each other's eyes. That's because they're there at the office for a reason. So something has gone on. But usually, sometimes there's tears begin to roll.
Okay, let me understand.
Because just the connection of eye-to-eye contact.
Okay, so
touching.
So a couple walks into your office, mm-hmm. whatever their situation is, you say to them, "I want you to hold hands."
Well, it depends on where we are in the thing. We're trying to get past something.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I want you to hold hands mm-hmm. and look each other in the eye. Mm-hmm. I'm not understanding why that's hard to do. Explain it.
Well, I'm just saying if there were issues between us, if there had been pain, then and hurt, then it would be hard to do. Yeah. We can only do it because we truly adore each other, and we don't have that in between us right now.
Okay, so you know what? You're helping me. See, I got to take you out of the equation.
Okay.
I can't imagine not looking you in the eye.
Okay.
Now, there are some people I don't respect enough to look. I mean, not me personally, but I've heard about situations.
All right.
But I didn't. But it's hard for me to put that into a couple.
I know.
I get that I could feel that bad about somebody, but not.
But yeah, some couples can get to that place where there's been some type of pain, some kind of hurt, and they've been avoiding each other for a long time. They've not talked. They're not even making eye contact, and that's very dangerous.
Okay, let me ask you. Wow. Okay, let me ask you this. You said silent treatment, mm-hmm. Walking away. Wow, this is some stuff. Walking away mid-conversation, avoiding eye contact. Okay, what about this? What about the person, hey, we're in a conversation or we're in conflict. Maybe not even conflict. Maybe it's just a conversation. But you understand that some people need to be more contemplative and need to ponder on stuff. You said that earlier. Mm-hmm. So what about the person who says, so we're in a conflict or conversation, Teresa, so what do you think about this? How does it make you feel? I'm asking you all the questions, and you're not being disrespectful. You're not avoiding eye contact. You're just saying, I'm not ready to talk about it right now. Mm-hmm. Or I can't talk about it. How do you handle that?
Well, then you give that person that space.
But what if the person has proven to be a liar, and every time they say we're going to talk about it later, they never talk about it, and I can't trust them?
Well, that's what I would bring up. I would say, now, you said this before, and you didn't come back and talk to me. So please, if you're going to do this, I'm going to give you the space, and we'll talk about it, tomorrow or later today. So you need to, I mean, it's personal accountability. Do what you say you're going to do. Grow up.
Okay. Again, in our relationship, so we talked about we need to talk. Mm-hmm. Stop everything I'm doing. Let's talk. Now's not a good time. You said I asked you to get on my schedule, which you refused to do because you wouldn't want to follow instructions. But that's another story.
Say, how many years ago was that? Go ahead.
But I need to keep my promise. If I say it's now not a good time, it don't need to be a week, a month later. You don't need to have to run me down. We never talked about it.
Right.
I need to be a person of my word and circle back around to you because I'm the one who delayed it. And now, Teresa, let's talk.
Okay, so this last version of stonewalling, I definitely want to bring up.
Okay, let's talk about it.
It's when a person keeps saying, "I'm done."
What does that mean? What does that even mean?
And they refuse to engage with each other.
Wait a minute.
They're saying, I'm done. Like
with the relationship or with the conversation?
No, with the relationship mainly. They're saying, they leave feeling dismissed. Just say, I'm done. I'm finished with this.
Hold on. Let me
or
understand.
it could be the conversation.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. I want to understand.
Yeah, it could be the conversation, or it could also be, sometimes people will throw that out there. We just need to get a divorce. That kind of stuff. They throw those things.
I've actually seen that. Now, matter of fact, I had a couple or an individual I was working with, and I said to you, this was helpful. Boy, you are a real therapist. Because I remember you. I said, Teresa, I got a guy that I'm working with. In the midst of conflict, his wife, I'm careful to use the word always. I'm careful to use the word, but I think she was more always. Now think about it. But often would say, I guess we're just going to get a divorce. Basically, I guess you're saying, I'm done. And I came to you and I said, why does this keep happening? Do you remember this conversation? Remember what you said?
It's usually a fear, and she's trying to do it before it's.
That's what you told me. That's what you told me. You said this particular person is so uncomfortable with conflict that she's thinking, man, we're arguing. I bet this is going to lead to a divorce. And for whatever reason, it prompted her to go, I'm going to be the first to say it. And you explained to me that was fear-based. I didn't know why the person was saying it. And I was able to share with her husband, this is what's going on, which was able to help him.
Good. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Man, this is a really good topic.
Yeah. Another red flag.
Okay, another red flag. All right.
It's contempt.
Contempt. I don't know what that means. Contempt of court. I've heard that term.
It's communication that conveys disrespect, superiority, a disgust toward your partner.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just
okay.
And this is one of Gottman's, as a matter of fact.
This is one of the Gottman. So you learned that in your training? Really?
This is one of Gottman's rules.
Okay. Okay.
So sometimes people will eye roll. Like, oh my gosh, that.
And you're saying that's contemptible.
Yeah, it's like disgust toward the other partner. I hate to see that between a couple. I want them to communicate. I don't want them to be eye rolling. Just say, sweetheart, I don't feel that was whatever. Talk. Instead of using that, that's a nonverbal communication style. But mocking and name calling, we already said that.
Now hold on. Good. See, now I try to put myself. The thing about doing these shows is I feel like we learn as much as you guys do as we talk back through this stuff. So I try to put myself in this situation. So when you say eye rolling, I'm going to trust you that that's contemptible behavior. I never honestly really thought about it as at the list of stuff that's like, don't do. I can see me doing that. So I can see me rolling my eyes, right?
Really?
I can. I don't know that I do it.
I've not noticed.
But I can see me doing it.
I can probably see me doing it sometimes.
Whereas mocking and name calling with you, I can't see me doing that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't want
I've got sarcasm. Now you say sarcasm that belittles. I mean, sarcasm is kind of I speak sarcasm fluently. So.
But it's not belittling. That's the word. That's the key.
Okay. So it's not just sarcasm. So eye rolling, mocking or name calling, sarcasm that belittles. Okay. All right.
And just dismissing, your partner's feelings in disgust. Like, a person has the right to feel what they feel. And you need to be able to hear that. Now, does it make it right or wrong?
Okay, that's what I was about to ask you.
It doesn't make it right.
That's what I was about to ask you.
Yeah, it doesn't make it right. But I want to be able to hear that and to say, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but this is how I feel, or but that person needs to express that feeling if it's something that they feel that they are experiencing.
Now you say dismissing your partner's feelings with disgust. Here's what you say.
Okay.
It's considered the most dangerous communication style in relationship. It erodes trust, safety, and emotional connection. Really?
It just did all of that. You're exactly right. I mean, doesn't it?
I'm just
saying, put yourself in that person's position. If I'm looking at you in disgust.
Okay. I'm not arguing with you. I guess I just never thought about this. I never thought about this.
So another one
Okay.
is scorekeeping.
Oh, I keep
That's a
score.
red flag.
I keep score.
You
I don't
do?
keep score with you though. But with everybody else, I keep score. But I'll keep score with you. I have you in a different program. You know that.
That's
right,
what you
way.
say.
Yeah, I got you in a different little box. That you're the only person in America in that box. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm working on expanding the box, the circle of trust. Y'all saw Meet the Fockers. I'm working on expanding my circle, but right now I got a really narrow circle with Teresa in it. What about the kids? No, they ain't in the circle.
They're not in the circle.
No, they ain't in the
Okay.
circle.
So scorekeeping is like I'm tallying up all the things
okay.
from our past, and I'm keeping score. Well, you did this, I'm going to do this. Those back and forth type. We don't have time for that.
Okay, now stop right there.
I did.
Doesn't everybody do that intentionally or not?
Not necessarily intent. Well, I'm going to say, what's the word?
Let's say I don't bring it up. But can I prevent a score from running in the background of my brain?
No,
I don't know. Maybe I can.
What's the word I'm trying to say? It's not you said intentionally. I'm going to say what's the word when you're not conscious? Unconsciously,
Yeah,
we do.
okay.
I think we do kind of tally.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, unconsciously, that's the word I want to say. So yeah, you did the dishes 3 times, and now. Or I did the dishes 3 times, and now it's your time to do the dishes 3 times. Well, let me say
why
that.
You counting? Why are you counting?
That's what I'm saying. Whatever it takes to make our household work, that's what we need to be doing.
Okay.
But we're just talking about, how people do scorekeep, and that's not a good thing to deal with when you're talking.
Scorekeeping is not a good thing.
Right.
Okay,
it's not a good thing.
Turns a relationship into a competition instead of a partnership.
Yeah.
It builds resentment and discourages grace or forgiveness. Oh wow, that's tough.
That's a big one.
It is a big one. Because I need God's grace, so I should be extending grace.
Absolutely.
Do you guys realize if you pray the Lord's Prayer, what you're actually praying? Forgive our debtors as we forgive our debts. Forgive those who trespass against us as we forgive those. It's basically saying, you're basically praying, treat me like I treat other people. Mm-hmm. Hey, once I figured that out, I thought long and hard before I kept praying that. But, okay. All right. What do you mean when you say weaponizing vulnerability? Hey, you're using a lot of technical, clinical terms in this discussion. I noticed weaponizing vulnerability.
Well, I wanted to really talk about, kind of bring up some of the things I've heard in our society today.
Okay, tell me. Because you're out there in the streets, Teresa. I'm not out there with, so
it's like you're taking what someone has shared with you in trust, and you're just using it against them.
That wouldn't make any sense.
Well, whether it makes sense or not.
For a couple.
For a couple.
Well, it wouldn't make any sense for anybody, but
right.
especially for
especially for a couple, it wouldn't make any sense. So those are red flags that really cause problems in relationships. I don't want to hurt you. Does that make sense? That's not my goal.
Okay. So now weaponizing vulnerability. Do you have an example? So you're saying I was completely vulnerable with you,
right?
And I shared something with you.
Yeah.
Hey, Teresa.
And then you use it, you turn it around, you make me feel shameful about it, you manipulate me with it, and it just hurts.
Hey, Teresa, when we'll be on these podcasts doing these shows and you keep using those clinical terms with your fancy master's degree, that it makes me feel, what's the word?
I don't know.
It makes me feel less than. So let's say I shared that with you in confidence. Then the way you weaponize.
Come on here and tell it.
Okay, I got you.
If you told me that in private, and then I come on here and make you feel bad about it.
Why would you do that?
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's called a red flag. It's not a good thing to do. But some people do that because they're hurting the other person. Sometimes they think it's like bringing.
They think it's helping?
No, they think it's. Let me keep them down, or it's not a positive. It's really an insecurity on that person's part. Does that make sense? They're saying it to keep another person lower than them to a degree mentally, or not bringing them up to the same. They're not trying to uplift them. They're trying to keep them down.
Okay.
And that's an insecurity part on that person's part that does it.
Okay. All right. So you share some great examples.
Hmm.
I guess if I just wait to let you finish that, you mentioned like somebody sharing, I've shared or you've observed that I'm clingy.
Hmm.
So later you say to me, you're so clingy, no wonder none of your past relationships worked.
Hmm.
That's just hurtful.
That is very
It's just
hurtful. Well,
hurtful. What kind of person says these things?
I'm just saying they do.
Okay, one spouse confesses past financial mistakes. And they
Hmm.
later hear, of course you want to handle the money. We know how well that went last time. Hey, by the way, you said something hurtful to me.
Oh, I know. I remember.
But now here, okay, to me, this is a great story because you said something hurtful that was uncharacteristic. And I don't hold it against you. So the fact that I bring it up, it really does not bother me.
Mm.
But
But I said it, like you say, it was a very
yeah,
difficult
yeah.
time for us.
So listen to men. We've told the story. We built this company. We lost everything. We filed bankruptcy. We went from owning over 100 houses to losing our personal house. And Teresa said to me in the midst of this crisis, she said something she wanted to do, something you wanted to do, which of course we couldn't afford to do.
Hmm.
And you make the comment like, we could have done this. I could have done this before you lost all our money. Again, it was an uncharacteristic comment.
It was.
I didn't take it personal. You remember what I said?
Because it wasn't true either. That's another thing. You have to really.
It wasn't true.
It wasn't true. Right.
But I guess what I'd say this in terms of you've built the relationship capital with me. Now, nobody wants to hear this day in and day out, right?
Hmm.
But an isolated once in every other decade or so kind of comment, or maybe once in a lifetime, I can overlook that, but I can't imagine being bombarded with that every day, day in and day out.
Right. And so I would definitely always assess, is whatever this person said, is it a true statement or they just ran off at the mouth? You know?
Wow. Okay, this is making sense to me. Basically, stuff shared in vulnerability, don't bring it up. I share with you about something with my family, with my family upbringing as a kid, and you bring it up. No wonder you're so messed up.
Mhm.
Look how your daddy treated.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So why is all of this so harmful?
Yeah. Why is it harmful, Teresa?
Well, for one thing, I think we go back to it breaks trust. And when you
Okay.
break trust, that's a major thing in a relationship.
That is a major thing.
And whether it's a
I
friendship
can't
or a couple.
trust you.
Right. I got to be able to trust you.
Well, if I can't trust you, how do I stay with you?
Like I say, we build trust. And
So you have to rebuild it.
Right. You
Okay.
have to rebuild
Okay.
it. And you've
All
got
right.
to be, both people got to be on the same page in order to want to go down that path.
Okay. So it breaks trust.
Mm-hmm.
It
Shuts down that intimacy part.
Okay,
And,
okay.
intimacy is very important. It's not just about the sexual part so much, but it's the connection that dies. And when a person isn't connected, I mean, it's just like you're in a relationship with
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just somebody. It's
Mhm,
not,
mhm.
it's not, it's just not it's not intimate.
Okay.
It's not close.
You also say it creates emotional control. What does that mean?
If you shift the power dynamics and you use shame to gain the upper hand, that's
Mhm,
what I was
mhm,
saying earlier. That's what they've done. They've used shame to get the upper hand. That's not a good way to be in a relationship.
Okay.
Have that dynamic.
And then I do get this one. You said breeds silence and resentment. So you've got couples in the same house. They may not be sleeping in the same bedroom. They're not talking to each other. They're basically roommates. Kind of like me and Ronnie was when we weren't talking. Kind of like when we weren't talking.
Walking around, not talking to each
because
other.
we live in the same room.
So it makes the relationship unsafe.
Okay.
You're not growing. It's unhealthy.
Okay. So when you say role play or coaching antidote, are you talking about this is some things you share in the counseling room to help couples get past this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so go deeper.
Well, that's what I've done.
Okay, so you, for example, you say you invite couples to agree on 3 new fight fair rules and talk about how they'll use them this week.
Right.
So that would be like your homework.
Right, kind of like and then like I say that I've already told you the things not to do.
Yeah.
So it's up to you to, if they're happening, to take those things out.
Okay, so do we want to give that out as homework to the audience.
Yeah.
Invite couples to agree on 3 new fight fair rules. So we're going to see, you know why this is so important?
Why?
You know the best time to calmly, rationally talk about how to handle conflict? When you're not in conflict.
Exactly.
So see how y'all laughing and kicking right now? Now's the time to talk about, hey, Jim, I don't want to bring up conflict right now. Everything is going good. But conflict, we already said, is part of marriage. It's part of a relationship. So since you know it's going to be there, why not now while emotions aren't elevated, why don't you talk about right now, hey, you know what? The next time we get into a conflict, maybe probably not us, but we can share it with friends because we probably won't have another conflict. But what our friends do, we're going to come up with 3 new fight fair rules and talk about how we're going to use them this week.
Exactly.
So that's going to be our assignment. You want to be very intentional. Hey, this is hard work, but remember my promise to you in one of our early episodes, 40 years, countless hours of training in various degrees. We're really, really good at this, but you have a chance to be better than we are. Now, here's the missing component that we haven't talked about on this show is in order to be better, you're going to need a mediator. You're going to need Jesus Christ. You're going to need the saving grace and power of Jesus. So what we invite you to do is to come into a personal relationship with Jesus. We've got in the show notes just how you can do that. Jim, you went from conflict to Jesus. I didn't know this was a religious show. It's not. It's a relationship show. And we're talking about your personal relationship that you'd have with Christ in order to make this work. Thank you so much for joining us. Please remember to share this with friends. Hopefully it's helpful. We are so excited to have you join us. We look forward to our meetings each week. And hey, we'll see you next Wednesday.